let's talk about the rest of today. Because again, I think Sarkisian talked for about 20 minutes and he said a lot of different things.
Got the minutes.
The Guilbeau suspension real quick.
Yeah.
It seems like he's still in the program. It's an issue that's been undisclosed at this point. Although it doesn't sound as simple as he missed a couple of classes, was tardy, missed a meeting, at which point we know he wouldn't be punished. So what do we even, is there anything to even say about that other than to make the mental note? Much talked about freshman defensive back, not practicing right now, still in the program. Sarkisian made a point to say he's still in the program. I guess when I hear a coach say that, the expectation is he will be back. From my perspective, it's like, oh, kid, you hadn't been here that long to be getting into trouble. And that's probably strike two, even if it's strike one.
It's definitely not a good start. And, obviously you and I have, heard, some of the rumors of what, it could be about. And obviously that's not on us to put that kind of stuff out there. But,
it's not murder.
No, I mean, clearly.
It's not
he's not arrested, right?
Correct.
I mean, so there's if he's arrested, then it's obvious, right? So it's clearly some other things, it's an in-between thing. There is an adjustment that needs to be made. Sometimes someone told me one time a long time ago, like you can't get upset at a baby for crying because they're a baby. And sometimes you and I have kids and very different ages, and it's hard to get upset with your 8 or 9 year old when they act 8 or 9. It's hard for me to get upset with my 3-year-old when he acts like a 3-year-old. And sometimes you still got to remember, sometimes when these guys are 17 and 18, they're going to do some dumb shit that 17 and 18-year-olds do. Yeah, and that's just it. And then some of it's just a learning process that you're going to just have to learn. Like, okay, you got away with it before, you can't get away with it here. These are the rules. You have to learn, and you suspend him so it doesn't become something major down the line. So for me, my biggest takeaway from it is he's young. We've done dumb things at 18. We know, Ketch, you and I know adults who do dumb things in their 40s. So and let the church say amen.
Call that Tuesday around here.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna say, all right, man, get your act together. You're okay. If we see repeats of it, then I'll raise like the flag of concern. For right now, it's March.
I would say the best possible spin on this is that maybe it's inadvertently like a now's the time to grow up moment. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of guys, we know 45-year-olds that don't need to grow up, right? But these guys have a lot riding on this, like his future in terms of his place in the program and the chance to be at a world-class university and potentially develop into a guy that can make money out of this on Sundays. Like, you make mistakes like that, it puts that at risk. And I think he probably is learning that when you're suspended, when you're being talked about at a press conference for not being in the program, it's probably a scary little situation of like, oh crap, I can't let this happen again. And you never know, sometimes those little moments that make you forced to grow up keep you from avoiding the big moment that could have happened afterwards that doesn't happen because the smaller thing happens in front of it. We're all rooting for Jaylon Guilbeau. So the hope is that this is just a little pothole on his way to a 4 and 5 year career where he has a lot of success, achieves all of his dreams, and is eventually like a team captain, right? Like you want the most and the best for these guys. Today, I think is, I'm sure his parents probably had a pretty long talk with him about you got to grow up a little bit and not make the kind of mistakes that get you suspended from a football team.
Okay, can I give my one last positive on this? One of my unscientific rules. I feel like the best teams catch are usually the ones where guys are getting suspended or someone's getting arrested for something. Like when I see that, I'm like, oh snap, you got some real ones in the program. Okay, you got some guys who are ready to go to battle here. When it's too clean cut, I'm like, nah, I don't know about this clean cut stuff. But give me a guy who's got a small felony charge. I got go down to like a little misdemeanor. I feel hope for the team. I'm just one of some levity.
The 2005 national championship team completely agrees with you, Anwar.
You actually agrees with me as well. And so does Urban Meyer.
Yeah, we know Urban does.
Absolutely agree. Urban would come here and say, there's not enough guys getting arrested for me to be a part of this program. Just saying.
Anything else from today that stood out to you? Again, he was asked about, I really wanted him to give an answer on how many spots in the portal do you have available, because I think, we've seen them reach out. We know that Ochaun Mathis is a primary target. And as you first reported on Orange Bloods yesterday, he's coming in next weekend for the spring game, official visit, last visit before he announced yesterday he makes a decision at the end of this month. So we know they got a spot for Ochaun.
Yeah.
Didn't answer any of the other things, but we know that they've talked about wide receivers. They've shown interest in a lot of linebackers. There's a world out there where if the right safety or defensive back became available, specifically in the back end of the defense, it maybe they could do something there. Although seems like he was high on Crawford today, and we know that he's high on Anthony Cook. So maybe they feel better about what's happening at safety than they did going into camp. But, I would have liked to have seen just an answer for clarity's sake. I think the fact that he didn't answer that question gives you some idea that it's more than one. And if it were just two, you'd probably come out and say two. So I took his answer to be, you're not going to pin me down. I am not going to tell you a number out loud because it's fluid. That's how I took it.
No, I totally agree. And if you ask, the only other thing that I thought was interesting and worth noting is that he said during Saturday's scrimmage, both of his quarterbacks completed 70% of their passes, which is a pretty high mark, as you would say. And he seemed to be pretty, happy with what both of those guys were able to do. He said during practice on Tuesday, there was a little bit more, turnovers. I think I forget the number of interceptions. I feel like he said there was 3. There was so much that was going on. I don't have it specific right now, but there were definitely more turnovers today. But he felt very good about the progress. And I think it's very interesting, Ketch, that we're basically seeing Quinn Ewers almost standing toe-to-toe with Hudson Card being on campus, only for a few months. For the small portion of practice that we were allowed to watch today on Tuesday, there were times during drills where Quinn was the first quarterback to go. Wasn't every drill, but typically, Ketch, even in the small drills, the number 1 guy goes, the number 2 guy goes. It's interesting that it's like I said, it seems toe to toe, seems neck to neck. It seems very even. I think that says a lot about where Quinn is at and what he's be able to do hitting the ground running. Because again, we're talking about a guy who's been on campus since January, completing percentages as a high clip. He was asked, Sarkisian was asked about the arm strength and does he like to sling it? How do you control a guy who's, has such a strong arm? And he said Quinn is he's a passer, more than a thrower. I think it was kind of the word, the analogy that he used. He said, one of the things we told the guys is, what's the biggest goal? He goes, it's to complete the pass. And he said the one thing about Quinn is that as strong as his arm is, he's actually not trying to, essentially take a guy's head off. I'm paraphrasing here, but he's actually trying to complete the pass. And I think just that portion alone, that's probably the only other thing that I thought that was really interesting about today.
3 quick thoughts on that. I think he's 1,000% right about Quinn Ewers. I mean, when I evaluated Quinn as a prospect, the thing that I love most about him was that I think he's the most accurate, short, and intermediate passing game quarterback at that level that I've probably ever seen. He really makes it look easy. Ironically, for as big and strong as his arm is, it's sometimes his ability to connect on throws that require a little more arm strength that I sometimes wonder, like, if he just hasn't quite, he hasn't quite invented that wheel yet. He doesn't need to reinvent it. He's just got to kind of figure it out. And look, I can remember Troy Aikman being with the Cowboys and having that big old strong arm that made him the #1 overall pick in the draft. And it was always the longest vertical power throws that sometimes he needed the most work on. Eventually he became a Hall of Fame quarterback. So like, these things happen, but he's right. Quinn's biggest strength is that the easy passes he makes look easy. And the next level of passes after that, he makes look easy. And then the next level of passes after that, he makes look easy. He makes the things that you need to do first and foremost look easy. And that is going to be, I think if I was a coach, I would love that, because you can say, well, what's our bread and butter? Our bread and butter is our quarterback throwing to the wide receivers, because he does that incredibly well. 2, I think Ewers is a supremely talented kid. So it wouldn't surprise me under any circumstances that he's improving and making a move against his competition, because he's that talented. We also have to acknowledge that this world that Quinn and Hudson Card are performing in isn't fair. And I'll give you an example. The talk coming out of practice on Saturday, Quinn. Yesterday, there was a tweet that made its way over to Orange Bloods. It was like, best quarterback practice that anybody has seen in 4 years. Today, Sarkisian's like both of our quarterbacks threw the ball over 70% in the scrimmage. And yet Hudson didn't so much as get a word of praise, really, in terms of all of the various internet reporting that took place. That's not to say that Quinn wasn't better or that Quinn didn't have a great day, but it sounds like, because we didn't see it, what Sarkisian is telling us is that Hudson also had a really good day, and yet he lives in a world where when he operates in a good place, nobody really wants to hear it. And so I don't think it gets reported. And, you add all of that together, and that's where we are today, I think. Hudson Card's in what I consider to be an unwinnable position, barring an injury to Quinn Ewers or Quinn Ewers just being a turnover machine. And I think little moments like this point that out, where Sarkisian gives both quarterbacks a compliment. And the thing that everybody mostly hears is that he gave Quinn Ewers a compliment. And that other guy, no, let's just talk about Quinn. I mean, I just think that's the universe that we're in right now, coming off of a 5-7 season. And to be fair, Ewers is the first consensus #1 overall prospect in the country that Texas has signed since a guy named Vince Young. And in between those 20 years, there are only like 5 other guys across the entire, in the last 20 years, it's only happened like 4 or 5 times. So he's a mega prospect. And, it shouldn't surprise anybody that he's the bright new shiny toy that everybody wants to play with after Christmas.
But you know what, Ketch? I think what Sarkisian is potentially doing that I would have to give him some credit for. Quinn didn't feel the love at Ohio State. When he was up there, he didn't feel the love. And Sarkisian knows that. Sarkisian knows that he didn't feel the love when he was in Columbus. Sarkisian knows that he felt like isolated and he didn't feel like a connection to the staff and all those kind of things. So instead of having him come here where it's like, man, I gotta hold back on showing you the love. I'm not gonna say anything nice about you. I'm gonna say both quarterbacks are even. We got to see what happens in August. He's doing the opposite. That guy's good. Yeah, he's real good. Look at the passes that he's complete. That man, yes, he's got a lot of talent. He's showing Quinn the love that Quinn needs. And I think he's showing Quinn the love that he feels like a quarterback needs. I think he has a good understanding, of his quarterback. And I think some of what we're doing, because we know, Ketch, we've done this long enough to know coaches, when they get into quarterback battles, they just downplay it and they just act like, I don't even know who's going to win the job. I don't know. Hell, I don't know if I've seen him practice. I mean, what
Sark last year was indicated he wasn't close to announcing a starter, and then it was like a couple of days later he announced a starter.
Yes, they always play close to the vest. And in this quarterback competition, he hasn't shied away from praising Quinn. And I think that's on purpose, because I think he's doing everything he can to make sure Quinn is comfortable. Now, listen, you're only doing that for a guy that you feel like is the real deal, right? I mean, you're going above and beyond for a guy that you feel like is legit. And you're saying, I got to make sure this guy is good. So that shows Sarkisian in his mind thinking, this guy's the real deal. Like this guy has it. Let me make sure he's all right. You know, he's doing good. When someone asks me about it in the media, and I know that's going to get back to the Ewers family, you're going to hear nothing but great, positive, bright things. Struggled a little bit, but it's okay, you know, because I think they understand when he went through at Ohio State, he's making sure it doesn't happen here.
From the department, last thing I'll say from the department.
I got one more in the quarterback situation.
Real quick thought on this.
Okay.
From the department of There Are No Accidents in Life, the Texas football Twitter department put out a sizzle reel from Saturday's scrimmage. Ewers shows up a couple of times where they show Ewers. It's a very quick, the edits are real quick, so you almost sometimes can't see even who the players are that are involved in the play, other than, oh, Jordan Whittington got hit, but who was that hit it? I mean, like, it happens such a fast edit, but there's a point of several times in the video where you see three. At no point in the video did you ever see one. Just something that I noticed while watching the video. You know, I think they know who eventually the front man of this program is going to be. And I don't think you can run from it all the time, even if it's not in your words.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and by the way, just on that, you remember during the women's basketball season when Coach Schaefer had talked about wanting to have more support. And so all of a sudden the football team decided to go out there, and who was like the front man to talk about that was Quinn in the Texas video about how everyone needs to come out and support, you know, the women's basketball team. So yeah, I think it's been like that since he's gotten on campus. The other thing I want to add to the quarterback conversation, Ketch, because hopefully this has been sliced into two videos.
Oh, this is multiple videos.
Yeah. So, but the other thing is Malik Murphy, Ketch. I'm telling you, week by week, he's looking better and better. And Sarkisian was kind of asked about that, and it said, like, you know, there's a little bit of him being a little tentative, a little bit, just because he's like, I can understand when you hurt yourself the way you did, you have your pins that are put in, you have to have those things removed, so on and so forth. But Ketch, I can tell you the arm strength is there, the accuracy is there. He throws a damn good ball. Ketch, he throws a damn good ball when he's out there. He's got touch. I'm telling you, I wish Malik was 100% healthy, because I would love to see how this thing shakes out. And I know Malik is technically playing from behind, but it could get interesting in the fall. I'm not saying he's going to push Quinn, because I feel like you and I have already kind of written that in at this moment. But as far as a backup job is concerned, you know, I'm going to be really interested to see how much Malik will be able to push Hudson when it's all said and done. And I'm sure if you're Sarkisian, you know, you probably want more of a veteran guy as your backup. But Ketch, everything I'm seeing, and again, there's a playbook that Malik has to learn. So I'm not going to discredit that, but from a talent standpoint and just sure who's got tools, Malik's got a lot of tools in his toolbox. And I know you covered him and you know all about him. You've done an analysis on him. I'm just telling you, from what I'm able to see, he's very impressive.
It's the best quarterback room the program's ever had. I mean, they're coming off a 5-7 year, and the quarterback position didn't quite work out the way that they wanted to. But I'm just telling you, in the 25 years that I've been covering the program, 25 plus, they have never had a quarterback room with this amount of talent. Maybe Chris Sims' last year where you had Chris Sims, Chance Mock, and then Vince Young as a freshman player. Mm-hmm. So maybe you'd have to go back 20 years to 2002 to even find a quarterback room that you would say, yeah, those guys together combined just as raw talents, as good as it gets. I mean, I think they've got 3 quarterback prospects that can be high-level starters for high-level teams. Only one for now can win the job, but I wonder if, when it's all said and done, when we get to the spring next year, if Malik isn't naturally your number 2 because of, at some point, Hudson Card will get the degree that he wants to get with. And if it doesn't happen for him on the field, he'll be in a position to have a lot of eligibility remaining to go get it somewhere else. And who knows? I mean, Arch Manning might one day join the fold. And the best thing you can say about the program right now is that at the quarterback position, you couldn't ask. It's almost impossible to assemble a more talented 3-person trio at the position than Texas has right now. They're young, but my God, I mean, on any given day, you can show up and any of those 3 can put on a clinic that would have you walking out saying, I just saw the quarterback messiah. And it's a good problem to have. It's a hell of a lot better than having 3 guys that you just don't believe in at all. You know, leave your comments in the comments section. What do you think about the quarterbacks? I'm sure the Ajomo video has already, it's its own thing. But hey, leave your comments in the comments section. Like the video, subscribe to the video, get the notifications, and by all means, go to orangebloods.com and get a subscription and read everything. We got play-by-play notes from the open availability at practice today and so much more. And oh, by the way, one more shout out to Underdog Fantasy, the sponsor of this video, and quite frankly, maybe 2 or 3 videos. For myself and Anwar Richardson, you guys have a great Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow. Take care.